This week we're going to cover part 3 of the problem of evil. I'm covering it so extensively because it's a big issue in Christian apologetics. People bring this up as the kryptonite against Christians. The problem of evil will defeat any Christian, one might say it. But in fact, it's not a problem for the Christian, as we've been seeing and you're going to continue to see throughout these weeks on the problem of evil. Not only is it not a problem for the Christian, it's a solution for the Christian, which we'll see today. It actually proves the existence of God, which is what we're going to talk about today. And in future weeks, you'll see how it's a problem for every other Christian worldview. So what is the problem of evil? We looked at it in a number of ways, a lot of different ways. One of the ways to look at the problem of evil is, if God exists, why does he allow bad things to happen to good people? If God exists, why does he allow bad things to happen to good people? The answer is he doesn't. Bad things happen to fallen people. But this raises a bigger question, and it's a big question for the atheist, which is why I like it so much. How can you call something bad? Or how can you call something good? Don't you need an objective moral standard for something that is good? So atheists, what is your objective moral standard of good? How can you call something bad? Yes, I know that you know something is bad because it's written on your hearts. Romans 2:15 tells us that you know good from evil because God wrote it on your hearts, but you don't know why, and you have no standard to point to. I can point to God and say, God is my standard of good and evil. If something goes against God's nature, it's evil. If it is for God's nature, it's good. You only have a preference, though. I don't mean to be offensive, but you only have a preference. Just like dark chocolate versus light chocolate, you could say, I'd prefer that thing didn't happen, but you can't call it evil. That's a big problem for you. So the problem of evil has now been flipped back onto the unbeliever or the atheist who says, this is a problem for the Christian. Actually, I just answered it very consistently and coherently, but you as the unbeliever can't answer it consistently and coherently with your worldview. So why is something bad? How do you call it bad? Why is something good? How can you call it good? What is your standard? This is what William Lane Craig says. He's an apologist, a Christian apologist, and he flips this question around really well back onto the atheist, and he says it like this. I think that evil, paradoxically, actually proves the existence of God. My argument would go like this. Number one, if God does not exist, then objective moral values do not exist. Number two, evil exists. Therefore, number three, objective moral values exist. That is to say, some things really are evil. Therefore, God exists. Thus, although evil and suffering at one level seem to call into question God's existence, on a deeper, more fundamental level, they actually prove God's existence. God exists. Why does he allow bad things to happen to good people? There's another part of this that we haven't looked at. You have a finite perspective. God has an infinite perspective. Have you ever been wrong about something that you thought was evil? Maybe while your coach gave you a workout and it was burning and hurting really bad as you're going through the workout, but then on game day when you have more endurance than everybody else, you realize that thing that seemed evil because it was painful was actually good. I'm not saying that all things that seem evil are actually good, but many things that appear to us from our finite perspective to be evil may actually not be evil when we have a bigger perspective on things, like it happens throughout our lives. When we're kids, we question everything our parents do. They won't let us just run into the street. It must be evil because they have a rule against it. Or maybe it's a good thing, and maybe we just have limited perspective at the time. So there's a lot to the problem of evil. The conclusion for today is, do bad things happen to good people? Only the Christian can answer that consistently and coherently. Yes, bad things happen. They happen to fallen people. Yes. Are some people better than other people? Yeah. But can you answer it consistently and coherently with your worldview? If not, you probably have the wrong worldview, because truth should correspond to reality. And if these questions cause you to question your belief system, maybe you're a part of the wrong belief system. Maybe you should check out the Bible, because it holds truth consistently and coherently throughout, and it allows you to live a consistent and coherent and fulfilling life. Only the Christian worldview allows that. Hopefully this is encouraging to you believers and maybe gives you some answers for your friends.